Anxiety often arrives in waves: a rush of feeling, a tightening in the chest or the belly, a sense of being overtaken, an urgency that sometimes feels without direction, and then sometimes a quieter moment before the next one moves in. What the nervous system is looking for is something solid to return to again and again, so that each wave becomes a little more navigable. That is what we're building here. I invite you to find a comfortable place to rest, wherever you are right now. And perhaps as you settle, you might let your eyes gently close. You might begin to notice your body, the weight of it, the pull of gravity, wherever it is being held right now. Perhaps you notice your feet, noticing the surface beneath, and your sits bones, if you are seated. The firmness of where you are already being supported, what is already holding you. You might also notice the back of your body, the length of your spine, the tension or the ease in your shoulders. And as you notice, you might already begin to sense that something in you has been working very hard today. You might let it know it is allowed to rest here. I invite you to imagine yourself standing at the edge of a wide coastal cliff, looking out over the beautiful ocean. The ground beneath your feet is solid, supportive, ancient stone. You might notice the texture of it, rough, cool, completely steady beneath you. And perhaps you notice how that steadiness has already begun to travel upward through your feet, your legs, settling somewhere in the lower part of your body. And perhaps as your gaze lifts just a little, you might notice a lighthouse standing just ahead of you, tall, still, present. It has been here for a very long time. Through the weather, the storm, the sun, it meets the weather steadily, whatever the weather brings. You might also become aware of the sound of the ocean below, the rhythm of the waves moving in and pulling back, in and pulling back. And perhaps from up here, you notice something about that sound. There is distance, as if it is in the background. There is space between you and the water. And you are on solid ground. As you stand here on the cliff, you might gently begin to sense deeper within your body with curiosity. Perhaps you notice something that has come with you today, a tightness somewhere. You might notice perhaps in your chest or your belly or your throat, perhaps something pressing or building or moving. You might simply notice it just for a moment, the way you might notice a wave from a distance. And then you might let your attention gently return to the ground beneath your feet. The cool, steady, ancient, solid stone. And to the lighthouse. Present, still, holding its place. Perhaps you notice something in your body already beginning to respond to that steadiness. A lighter breath that moves a little more freely. A small softening somewhere. Perhaps now you let your gaze drift toward the water below. You might notice the waves rising, cresting, and then releasing back into the ocean. The wave comes and the wave passes. In and out. And perhaps you notice the cliff is still there. The lighthouse is still here. You might be curious about that. The way a wave builds and builds and then simply finishes itself on the rocks. That is what waves do. And gently now, you might let your awareness move deeper within. You might notice where in your body that sensation was. The wave of tightness, the restlessness. And perhaps you might notice whether it is still as it was or whether it has already shifted, already changed, already moved or decreased. Bodies do this when we simply allow them some attention, unhurried, curious. The sky is beginning to shift now, deepening, soft blues, changing into indigo, the first suggestion of evening. The lighthouse beam has begun its slow, steady sweep, moving, rhythmic, unhurried, reliable, meeting the dark with its quiet light, gently moving, sweeping, round and around. You might notice your breath now. And perhaps you notice simply by noticing your simple, steady breath that your breath has already changed, already slowed, already deepened. Perhaps the waves below have taken on a different quality. Now their rhythm and sound might already be different, still moving, still pushing in and out towards rocks. And yet, somehow, each one passing a little more easily than the last. I invite you to let your breath be your lighthouse. Steady, rhythmic, reliable. Simply moving on its own. Steady, even, continuous. You might begin to notice the space between the waves. That quiet moment after one passes and before the next arrives. That space has always been there. Somewhere inside you there is something like a lighthouse. Something that has already been holding steady even when the waves have been very large, or even if they were small. Something that meets the uncomfortable moments and continues. You might notice it now, a sense of settling somewhere deep in the body. A sense of something that has remained intact through everything that has moved through it. Perhaps it is very quiet. Perhaps it is simply the feeling of your own ground, your own breath moving, your own body at rest. And perhaps you already notice that something has shifted. Something that might have felt flooded, might have felt urgent, has changed shape, has settled. You might let yourself rest here, relaxed, at ease, calm, and contained. Take your time to gently begin to bring your awareness back to the present. Perhaps you wiggle your fingers and your toes. Begin to notice your inhale. This time gently and slowly deepening your breath. Letting in more sound and more light. Taking your time to let the sensations come back to your awareness, one at a time. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.